The Nintendo Entertainment System has been home to some of the most beloved titles in the gaming world. It was the first stop for many video game enthusiasts on their lifelong gaming journey. From the classic Super Mario Bros. To the original Legend of Zelda, Nintendo has been a platform that has given gamers a lot of memories to cherish. Nintendo has been a part of the video game industry since the late 1970s and has a rich history. Throughout this history, the company has faced several controversies, some of which were unintentional, while others portrayed the company in a negative light. We will explore the reasons behind Nintendo's success, the charm of its timeless classics, and the mysterious choices that have influenced the gaming industry. From the iconic characters to the revolutionary innovations, we will reveal the untold stories that make Nintendo an intriguing enigma. Be prepared to uncover the secret levels and discover the untold secrets that have made Nintendo a persistent force in the gaming world. Despite facing increasingly mature competition over the years, Nintendo has remained committed to its goal of creating games suitable for everyone. While this approach hasn't always been successful, the fact that Nintendo has been the only consistent player in the console market for over 30 years proves that the company is doing something right in its quest to bring joy to the world. The company was founded in 1889 by craftsman Fusajiro Yamauchi, who initially manufactured handmade Hanafuda playing cards. In the 1960s, Nintendo diversified into various lines of business and eventually went public. The color TV game, Nintendo's first console, was released in 1977 following these developments. In 1979, Gunpei Yokoi devised an idea for a handheld video game while sitting on the bullet train on a business trip. He noticed a fellow passenger killing time by playing with a portable LCD calculator. Yokoi's observation and subsequent idea led to the birth of a game-changing product called Game & Watch. A year later, in 1980, Nintendo launched the first Game & Watch series developed by Yokoi. These systems could not use interchangeable cartridges, and thus, the hardware was tied to the game. The first Game & Watch game, Ball, was distributed worldwide and was a huge success. In the same year, Nintendo released its first arcade game, Computer Othello, which used a microprocessor to play a strategic board game. Just 1 year later, Donkey Kong was launched, and the world was introduced to two of Nintendo's most iconic characters, Mario, known as Jumpman at the time, and Donkey Kong. In the mid-1980s, Nintendo shifted its focus toward the home market and released a home console they had been working on for a while, called the Family Computer. Along with arcade game activity, Nintendo tested the consumer handheld video game market with the Game & Watch. It is a line of handheld electronic games produced by Nintendo from 1980 to 1991. Each Game & Watch features a single game to be played on an LCD screen along with a clock or an alarm. It was the earliest Nintendo product to achieve major success, with 43.4 million units sold worldwide. In 1985, the Nintendo Entertainment System was unveiled at the CES, and thanks to Super Mario Bros., Zelda, and many others, it completely revolutionized home entertainment and the entire games industry. After a few tweaks and rebranding, the rest of the world would eventually know it as the Nintendo Entertainment System. It became the best-selling console of its time, and if you ask any dedicated gamer for the most iconic system ever made, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who wouldn't say it was the original NES. It brought an entire generation of kids into gaming and established the hobby as an iconic part of global culture. The original NES launched some iconic video game franchises and set the standard for the development of modern video games. Our modern games now were only possible with Super Mario Bros., Metroid, Final Fantasy, Mega Man, and Castlevania. The launch of Super Mario Bros. 3 was highly anticipated, and it was met with widespread critical acclaim. Super Mario Bros. 3 also significantly impacted popular culture, with the game and its characters appearing in various forms of media. Overall, Super Mario Bros. 3 is considered one of the greatest video games of all time, and its impact on popular culture helped to solidify Mario as a pop culture icon. Its launch was a significant event in the history of video games and helped to pave the way for the continued success of the Mario franchise. In 1986, Nintendo launched the Nintendo Entertainment System in Europe, and it quickly became a major hit and a must-have in homes across the continent. In Japan, Nintendo developed and began selling the family computer disk drive system to expand the functions of the Famicom. The company also began installation of the disk writer to rewrite game software. In 1990, Japan joined the 16-bit market by releasing the Super Famicom during autumn. The Game Boy was introduced in Europe, which created an enormous worldwide installed base for Nintendo's handheld console. In June 1992, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Famicom, was launched in Europe, and it went on to sell more than 46 million units worldwide. The Super NES Super Scope and Mario Paint with the Super NES mouse accessory were also released in Japan. The much-awaited sequel to Zelda, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, was introduced for the Super NES. In 1993, the Super FX chip was announced, a revolutionary technology for home video systems. The first game utilizing the Super FX chip, Star Wing, was released in April. Nintendo of the Netherlands was established, and the distribution and management of Nintendo products previously handled by Bandai in the Netherlands were transferred. Other subsidiaries were also created in France, the UK, Spain, Belgium, and Australia. The company Nintendo has a history of controversies. One of the controversies is related to environmental concerns. Greenpeace, an organization that periodically ranks electronics companies by how green they are, has reported that Nintendo is not eco-friendly. According to Greenpeace's ranking, Nintendo is one of the worst performers in the industry. Greenpeace once gave Nintendo a 0 rating and called it the world's least eco-friendly electronics company. Although Nintendo has made some efforts to improve its environmental impact in recent years, it remains the worst offender in the video game industry. Another controversy related to Nintendo's explosive growth in the 80s. Some people questioned how quickly the company managed to get into millions of homes, especially since video games were previously distrusted by retailers and consumers following the crash. Nintendo had been found guilty of an illegal practice known as price fixing, which they allegedly continued for years. They were formally charged for this in 1991 when the Federal Trade Commission ordered them to pay out almost $30 million in customer rebates and other fees. Despite this, Nintendo reportedly continued to engage in price fixing, and in 2002, the European Trade Commission fined them a staggering $147 million for the same offense. Nintendo has consistently denied these allegations, but the hefty fines cannot be ignored. In addition to the aforementioned price fixing, Nintendo used its position as the leading video game company to coerce third parties into unfair deals that always favored Nintendo. Companies had no choice but to comply, or they risked being unable to make games for the NES, which was not a wise move. Like many companies, Nintendo outsourced production work to Foxconn, a Chinese-based company that has been criticized for poor working conditions, high death rates among its employees, and the use of underage workers. In 2002, Nintendo was among several companies that admitted to using signature packaging solutions for contract work. This company employs prisoners and uses felons who are in prison for serious crimes such as murder and assault. Animal Crossing: New Horizons was one of 2020's most eagerly awaited games. However, a critical piece of information reminded players that Nintendo's online functionality needs to be updated to modern standards. Although the Nintendo Switch has received high praise, some players have reported issues with the Joy-Con controllers. Many Joy-Cons suffer from a problem called Joy-Con drift, which affects their performance. During the E3 event, Nintendo revealed the pre-release box art for Super Mario Odyssey in 2017. The box art featured various screenshots from the game's kingdoms, and Mario was dressed accordingly based on the locations. However, in the lower left corner, Mario was seen shivering in the Sand Kingdom while wearing a sombrero and a poncho. This particular look became popularly known as Mexican Mario. Unfortunately, this look was considered a negative stereotype of the Mexican people and their culture. Several sources accused Nintendo of racism and cultural appropriation. As a result, the game's box art was later changed. The Mexican Mario image was removed and replaced with a screenshot showing Mario swimming in the Lake Kingdom. If you enjoyed unraveling the secrets behind your favorite games and the iconic company, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Stay tuned for more gaming adventures and untold stories. Until next time, Happy gaming!